Hello, I'm Rob Murthwaite from Institute of Disabled People Against the Cuts. I'm also a member of the UCU, University and College Union National Disabled Members Standing Committee, and today I bring solidarity to the demonstration from the University and College Union. We are shocked by what this government is doing to disabled people. We're shocked what this government is doing to education, health, and every aspect of our welfare state. But what Atos is doing to disabled people is particularly shocking. Of the people who appeal, 40% of people assessed by Atos appeal. Of those, 40% of the people who are unrepresented at the appeal are successful. Of those people who are represented at appeals, between 70 and 90% are successful. This clearly shows, actually, that Atos is not fit for work, that Atos is incompetent, and that Atos should not be carrying out these assessments. But the truth is, whoever carries out the assessment, the move from incapacity benefit to so-called employment support allowance is a disgrace. It's designed simply to reduce the level of benefits. We know actually that this government is very keen to take benefits off the poorest people in society, and it's very keen to let the richest in society get away with murder, get away with daylight robbery. So I think our enemy is not just Atos, our enemy is this government, and actually we should make it clear, once we've dealt with Atos, and in the process of dealing with Atos, we also want to deal with Cameron and his cabinet of millionaires, because they have nothing to offer disabled people, and they should go. And to that end, actually, Disabled People Against the Cuts nationally is calling on all people, all disabled people, to support the demonstration in Manchester at the Tory Party conference this week. There is transport going from Islington, from the Town Hall, 7:30 on Sunday morning. You're welcome to join us on that transport to come up to Manchester, because we disabled people have got a message for Cameron. You don't represent us. Get out.
Well, basically, they don't provide value for money to the government at all anyway, do they, really, at the end of the day? When you think about it, the actual reality is, a greater percentage of those people that they rule fit for work who actually appeal it, win the appeal. So therefore, it's costing the taxpayer money to enable Atos continue to make a profit. Atos are not criticised in any way, shape or form for their flawed assessments when people win the appeals. They don't get financially penalised. They still make their profit. In fact, they get their extra profit for ruling people fit for work. They still get that. So they're on a good one. They're on a winner. They're on a double winner. They can't lose, can they? But it's costing the taxpayer an enormous amount of money. And so this isn't really doing much to save the government money in terms of like its intent. Obviously part of its intent is to save money as part of the general cuts, but it's not really serving that purpose. And I think, you know, there's another agenda in it. I think the other agenda in it is that they're trying to reinforce the work ethic, and they're trying to promote a fascist mentality in society. The way that the Department of Work and Pensions have been putting out the information about the number of claimants being removed from benefits has distorted it, made it look bigger than it actually is. The right-wing press has seized on that and distorted it even further. The right-wing press has been basically saying that because there is now all these claimants being ruled fit for work, that they therefore must be criminals and scoundrels and fraudsters. And this proves it. But they're failing to report that the actual work test has been changed and the goalposts have been moved, and that most of those people that are now being ruled fit for work would have qualified before, and a good percentage of those people who then appeal win the appeal, so therefore they're prejudging before the facts of the case anyway there.
Tarring everyone with the same brush.
And it's slander. It's basically slanderous, and it's being used to promote a climate of fascism. It's archetypal that the capitalists use the politics of envy, you know, to attack the people at the bottom of society, make them the scapegoat, as a smokescreen, but you know, why they can't run things.
Can you explain the Atos tick box system? Because don't they use a computer system instead of doctors?
Basically, it's basically a computer program. The doctors are trained to assess you in a certain way against certain questions they ask, against these what they call descriptors, but they don't they don't ask you questions directly about the descriptors. It's almost like it's a minefield. They ask you kind of trick questions. They ask you sort of vague, general questions that sound kind of innocuous, like what did you do? What do you do during the day? And if you say things like, well, I watch the television or I read books, they'll write down, oh, full mental cognitive function, things like that. You know what I mean? So they don't even. It's not even. It's not a straightforward interview. If it wasn't kind of a straightforward interview, and I was asking you specific questions and you was responding in a specific way, that would be a different story. But what it is, they're actually trained to make judgments on you based on the things you say and the way they're really trained to observe you in the interview.
Isn't one of the questions, if you can watch an episode of EastEnders, you can work? So that's one of the questions.
No, it's not really like that. They tend to ask you about things like if you watch the TV, and the general assumption is if you can watch the TV and you can concentrate on watching the TV, then you've got your cognitive functions are fine, and that's all right. So therefore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, what it is now is they've changed the whole thinking about sickness benefits. They've now decided that unless you're really, really severely disabled, that you should be capable of doing some kind of work of some sort or another, even if it's only absolute minimum amount.
Yeah.
But so all this current test is all based on your ability to function at a workstation. You know, in the descriptors they talk about can you stand or sit at a workstation for X amount of time or whatever. And but what a lot of it's like a snapshot. It's not kind of taking into account the overall experience of people's lives. And for a lot of people, they'll have conditions that fluctuate and vary from one day to another.
Such as multiple sclerosis, things like that.
I mean, I suffer from chronic fatigue problems. I can be varying on different days. Some days I'm completely bedridden, can't get up at all. Some days I'm reasonably okay. You know what I mean? The advice we give to people is when you go to them, present the worst case scenario. Don't. But the difficulty is that people, want to go along, and people that are naive go along, want to present themselves in the best light, maybe actually believe they are going to be helped in some way, and then they get into all kinds of difficulties because of it. And I'm involved with Mad Pride, as I say. We're particularly concerned about the implications of the new work test for people with mental health problems. Up till now, people with severe and enduring mental health problems haven't been expected to participate in the work test. It's always been seen that their needs, are going to be too great to be met, and that they've been largely exempted. But now they're being expected to participate in this test as well. And there's a real concern that the test can't properly get a grip on understanding complex mental health issues, and that the people working for Atos are in no way, shape or form qualified or trained to do that. And so that's going to lead to vulnerable people being pushed off of benefits onto job seekers allowance, possibly pushed into some unsuitable employment, and they're not going to be able to manage. It's going to have a really detrimental effect on their mental health, possibly even driving people to suicide. The other thing is a lot of people, because people with mental health problems haven't had to face this test before, it's a new thing to them. It's causing considerable anxiety amongst people. I know several people have been feeling suicidal because they're so anxious about the test. We're really concerned that the level of suicides is going to go up directly as a direct consequence of these tests being implemented on people, and disastrous consequences occurring for people. Because the other thing with that is that, quite rightly, people with mental health issues are being encouraged by the mental health services now to present themselves in a positive light, and to not be seen as being needy and dependent or whatever. And that's a good thing. It's not, but if people go in presenting themselves in a positive light in one of those interviews, and especially if they can get anyone with them to accompany them and to kind of, to help advocate for them, they could get into all kinds of problems, you know what I mean? And that's the concern we've got. There's naive people out there who won't really know what's going to hit them. They go in, they get called into these interviews, maybe think that it genuinely will help them, and then come severely unstuck. Yeah.
One of the questions that I've been asked a lot is, why is a French IT firm in charge of British medical assessments?
Well, it's more likely that they offer the most competitive rates, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's the government would argue they'll go for wherever they can get the best deal on the contracts, you know what I mean? So, it's purely a commercial enterprise, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Atos you know, they've got, like you say, they've got no agenda politically in this country. They're doing it purely on a profit motive, and the government is offering them incentives to throw people off benefits. They get bonuses, both the organisation and. Yep. Both Atos as an organisation and the staff in Atos who are doing the assessments actually get paid bonuses. You know, they set targets for, you know, quotas for the removal of people from benefits.
So they're putting profit over patients.
Exactly. And this is one of the concerns of the people in the British Medical Journal have expressed. This is why I'm saying it's surprising to me that the British Medical Journal have allowed Atos to come to this meeting, because there's senior people involved with the British writing for the, you know, probably the people working for the British Medical Journal have actually pulled Atos up over this whole issue of their duty to care for people. You know, there's people who work for Atos who seem to think they haven't got that basic primary duty for care when they're dealing with these assessments, and these people say no, you still have, you can't. You know, if you're involved with someone's medical case, your primary duty is to that person, not to any, you know, profit interest or whatever. Yeah. And that's why they're saying Atos is actually in breach of that basic principle.
Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, not for sale. So the budget of the PCTs, he wants to hand to the GPs, oh please. Dumb geeks are gonna buy from any willing provider and get care from private companies. So the pie and the one apiece, got the rise on the peas like mice for the cheese. Talk truth when I right to beat you, talk shite when you speak. See money when you close your eyes to sleep. So fall back, your face looks like a shriveled up bull sack. The stuff that you say is bullcrap. I'm sure Andy Pandy snorts crack. Health minister, I mean sinister. You know the public will finish ya. Is your brain really that miniature? You full of crap, give yourself an enema. You're filthy rich from those who represent Walker's Chris. Mars and Pizza Hut proved you're a health slut, and you're always talking shit. £134 an hour, every week that's quite a lot of quids. And you came to the conclusion the food industry should be a little less strict. Scandal disclosed that you flipped your second home. You said your claims were within the rules, filled your pockets, took us for jokes. How would you cope when broke folk get ill, injured and broke, but they don't have the dough to get their life back on the road? So the poor die slow and the rich take control. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, not for sale. Lansley's white paper liberating the NHS sets out a plan where we'll become more like the US, and care will be farmed out to private companies who will sell their service to the NHS via GPs, who will have more to do with the service purchase arrangements than anything to do with even seeing their patients. He's been given cash by Johnny Nash, chairman of Care UK, a private healthcare provider who, if they have their own way, will be the biggest beneficiaries of conservative Lib Dem policies to privatise healthcare, pull apart their welfare state. These plans have been slacked by patient organisations, charities, unions, nursing and medical institutions. The Royal College of GPs even joined the attack. Look closely at the proposals and said they were crap. So say yes for the NHS. Andrew Lansley could suck a David Cameron's breast. This question for the rich to pay less and the poor have to stress, it'll be one big mess. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, you grey-haired manky codger. Andrew Lansley, greedy Andrew Lansley, tosser. The NHS is not for sale, not for sale.